My name is Declan, I'm 48, and for 19 years, I believed I had the perfect, most reliable marriage. I built my entire life on that trust, only to realize it was a beautifully constructed lie. It all shattered on a rainy October night when my wife, Camille, carelessly left a hidden, buzzing burner phone on our nightstand. That single vibrating device triggered an irreversible chain reaction that ruined everything. What was she actually hiding? A downtown Marriott receipt, explicit messages from her corrupt boss, and a chilling plan to drain my life savings. In just 48 hours, my family, my career, and my future completely disintegrated. And the mastermind? My wife, who was downstairs calmly stirring a pot of beef stew, completely oblivious that the FBI was already on her way. Before I tell you what happened next, please take a moment to like and subscribe, but only if this story resonates with you, and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from and what time it is there. You sided with your treacherous mother. Rot in the mess you helped make. The concrete slab missed Declan Morazi's skull by 3 inches. 23 years as a structural engineer, and this was the closest he'd come to being buried alive. The irony wasn't lost. He'd signed off on this tunnel safety inspection 6 months ago. Jesus Christ, Declan, Tommy Fitzpatrick's voice echoed. You alive? Still breathing? Declan called back, brushing dust from his jacket. At 48, he knew the difference between fear and adrenaline. The drive home took longer than usual. Rain turned the October evening into headlights and brake lights. Through the kitchen window, he could see his wife Camille preparing dinner. After 19 years of marriage, he still felt grateful seeing her there. There's the conquering hero, Camille said as he entered. She was stirring beef stew, auburn hair pulled back. At 45, she'd kept herself in excellent shape for her 12-hour hospital shifts. Eva called. She got the promotion. Senior account manager, taking us to dinner this weekend. Their eldest daughter had been struggling in Philadelphia's marketing world. The promotion meant she could stop worrying about mortgage payments, the ones Declan had been quietly supplementing. That's fantastic. What about Isabel? You know how she is. Calls when she needs money. Otherwise, radio silence. She's 18. It's normal. Normal. Their family's unofficial motto. Normal mortgage, normal tuition, normal marriage. Declan had built his life around being reliable. I almost got crushed by a concrete slab today, he said, settling at the kitchen table. Camille paused, spoon halfway to her mouth. What? Tunnel inspection. Section collapse. Missed me by inches. Makes you think about mortality. Are you hurt? She touched his hand, just shaken. But it got me thinking. Maybe we should take that vacation. Costa Rica, remember? Something flickered across Camille's face. Annoyance. Frustration. Gone before he could be sure. We can't afford Costa Rica. Not with Ava's situation and Isabel's tuition. We could make it work. Life's short. Life's also expensive. Some of us have to be practical. The comment stung. Camille had been working double shifts, picking up administrative duties. She was tired, stressed. After dinner, Camille retreated to her office for paperwork while Declan channel surfed. The near-death experience left him restless. He wandered upstairs to check email. Camille's phone was charging on her nightstand. It was buzzing. Declan had never been jealous. In 19 years, he'd never checked her phone or questioned her whereabouts. Trust was their foundation. But the insistent buzzing made him glance over. The screen lit up. Not her usual phone, but a second device he'd never seen. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Room 412 at the Marriott. Phil you. Declan stared until the screen went dark. Then he sat in growing darkness, listening to his breathing. 23 years of engineering taught methodical problem analysis. First gather data, form hypothesis, test conclusions. The data was clear. Camille had a second phone. Someone named W was meeting her at a hotel. Her recent late nights extra shifts. He crept downstairs, avoiding the creaky third step. Her purse sat on the counter. Inside, regular phone, wallet, keys, nothing unusual. But his fingers found something else. A hotel receipt tucked in the side pocket. The Marriott downtown 3 nights ago, room 412. Declan photographed the receipt, replaced it carefully. His engineering mind calculated angles, stresses, points of failure. The next morning, Camille left early. She kissed him goodbye. The same quick peck for 19 years. This time, Declan noticed things he'd missed. Eyes not meeting, his voice trembling when she said she'd be working late again. Another double shift. Dar. Klein scheduled an emergency board meeting. Budget review. Don't wait up. After she left, Declan made a phone call. Fitzpatrick Investigations. Tommy, it's Declan. I need to ask you something. Tommy Fitzpatrick, his college roommate turned private investigator. They met for drinks every few months. What's going on, Dec? Hypothetically, if someone wanted to verify certain activities, what would be the best approach? Hypothetically, you sound like a man who's found something he wishes he hadn't. Meet me at Flanagan's after work. The day passed in a blur of concrete and measurements. By evening, he'd formed a hypothesis. Camille was having an affair. Flanagan's was crowded with the usual after-work crowd. Tommy was in their booth nursing beer and reading sports. You look like heck, Tommy said. Feel worse. Declan ordered whiskey. Neat. I need your help. He told Tommy about the phone. Hotel receipt, late nights. Tommy listened, making notes. Dr. Klein, that's Wesley Klein, head of orthopedics at Riverside General. Divorced 6 months ago. Messy settlement. You know him? Know of him? His ex-wife hired me during divorce proceedings. Guy's got a reputation for mixing business with pleasure. Hospital's been watching him since the divorce. I need to know for sure, Tommy. I need evidence. Evidence for what? Divorce? Maybe. Or maybe I just need to know how deep this goes. Tommy studied his face. Dec, you're not thinking clearly. You're hurt and angry. Don't do anything stupid. Define stupid. Anything that lands you in jail or dead. Revenge is a luxury most people can't afford. I'll be careful. Famous last words. That night, Declan lay listening to Camille's breathing. She'd come home after midnight, mumbling about the board meeting. In darkness, he could smell hotel soap on her skin. He waited until her breathing became regular, then extracted himself from bed. The second phone was charging. Declan scrolled through messages. The conversation painted a clear picture. Wesley Klein pursuing Camille for months since his divorce. Messages progressed from professional courtesy to explicit arrangements. Hotel rooms, restaurants, intimate details that made Declan's stomach turn. But the tone hurt most. Camille sounded different. Playful, flirtatious, alive in ways she hadn't been with him in years. She called Wesley brilliant and exciting. She complained about her boring home life and predictable husband. Declan scrolled through months of messages documenting everything. The most recent made his face turn pale. Wesley, your husband suspects. Camille. No, he's completely oblivious. Probably wouldn't notice if I moved out. Wesley, maybe it's time to make that happen. Camille, not yet. Need to secure finances first. He's got everything tied up in joint accounts. Wesley, I can help with that. I know people. Camille, let's discuss tomorrow. Room 412. Declan set the phone down, walked to the bathroom, splashed cold water on his face. The man in the mirror was hollow-eyed, pale, aged years and a day. His phone buzzed. Found something. Meet me tomorrow at lunch. Tommy, the next day, crawled. At lunch, Tommy slid a manila envelope across the table. Good news and bad news. Good news, your wife's boyfriend is in trouble. Bad news, he's taking her down with him. Inside were financial records, hospital documents, surveillance photos. Pictures showed Camille and Wesley entering the Marriott multiple times over 3 months. Hospitals investigating Klein for Medicare fraud, falsifying surgery records, billing for procedures that never happened. They're building a case. What does this have to do with Camille? She's been helping. Hospital records show she's accessing patient files she shouldn't have. Backdating authorizations. If they prove involvement, she's looking at criminal charges. Declan stared at photos. In one, Camille was laughing, face bright with expression he hadn't seen in years. In another, they held hands across a restaurant table. How long have you known? Tommy asked. 2 days since I found her second phone. What are you going to do? Protect myself, Dick. No, Tommy. She's been planning to leave me. Stealing from the hospital, lying for months, maybe years, and I'm supposed to pretend it never happened. Don't do anything that'll destroy your life, too. My life's already destroyed. I'm just deciding what to build from the ashes. That afternoon, Declan visited his lawyer. James Morrison had handled their legal affairs for years. I need to discuss divorce proceedings, Declan said. Morrison reached for a legal pad. I'm sorry to hear that. What are the grounds? Adultery? Fraud? Take your pick. Declan laid out the evidence. Morrison listened, taking notes. This is serious. If your wife is involved in Medicare fraud, she could face federal charges. That changes everything. How so? Criminal conviction affects spousal support, asset division, everything. But you need to be careful about how you proceed. Any appearance of vigilante justice could backfire. I'm looking for actual justice. I'll file preliminary paperwork, but promise me something. Don't confront your wife directly. Let the legal system work, of course. But Declan's mind was already working through other possibilities. That evening, Camille came home at usual time. No mention of working late. She seemed relaxed, almost cheerful. How was your meeting with contractors? Productive. We're moving forward with the Riverside project. That's the tunnel that collapsed. Different section. The whole system needs reinforcement. Camille nodded absently, glancing at her phone, waiting for messages that never came. Wesley was probably covering his tracks. Camille, is everything okay at work? You seem distracted. She looked up sharply. What do you mean? You've been working so many extra hours. Board meetings, administrative duties. It's pressure. It's fine, just busy. Why do you ask? No reason. I worry about you. Well, don't. I can take care of myself. The edge in her voice was new. Or maybe he was just hearing it clearly. After dinner, Camille retreated to her office. Declan waited an hour, then climbed to their bedroom. The second phone was buzzing. Wesley was panicking. The hospital called him for a meeting tomorrow morning. He wanted to see Camille tonight. Needed damage control. Messages were frantic, desperate. Camille's responses were calmer, but urgent. She would meet him at the usual place. They needed to get stories straight, protect themselves. Declan documented everything. Then he made a decision that would change his life. Forever. He called Tommy. I need you to follow them tonight. Document everything. I don't think, Tommy. They're meeting to destroy evidence. If we don't act now, they'll cover tracks and disappear. What are you going to do? What I should have done from the beginning. Tell the truth. An hour later, Declan watched Camille leave. She'd said she was checking on her mother, but he knew she was driving to the Marriott. He waited 10 minutes, then made his first call. Hospital security. This is Declan Morrissey. I need to report suspected Medicare fraud involving Dr. Wesley Clean and nurse administrator Camille Morrissey. The security director listened as Declan explained what he discovered. Financial irregularities, unauthorized access, systematic billing fraud. He had documentation. We'll need you to come in tomorrow morning. Bring everything. The second call was to the FBI's healthcare fraud tip line. The third was to Eva. Dad, what's wrong? It's almost midnight. I need you to come home. There's something important we need to discuss. Is Mom okay? Your mother is fine, but our family is about to face challenges. I need you and your sister to understand before you hear it from someone else. You're scaring me. I'm sorry, sweetheart, but everything I'm doing is to protect this family. Can you drive down tomorrow? Yes, I can be there by noon. Thank you. And Eva, I love you. Remember that. No matter what happens next. The fourth call was to Isabel's dorm. She was less receptive, annoyed at being woken, suspicious, but she agreed to come home. Declan's final call was to his mother. Martha Morrissey, 72, sharp, opinionated, the family's moral center. Declan, what's wrong? Mom, I need to tell you something about Camille. He explained everything. Martha listened, occasionally asking pointed questions that revealed how much she'd suspected. I never trusted her. Too smooth, too charming. Your father always said pretty words were like fresh paint. They covered up the rot. I loved her, Mom. I still love her. Love isn't enough when there's betrayal. What are you going to do? What Dad would have done. Fight for what's right. Good. And Declan, don't let her take the girls from you. They might blame you for breaking up the family, but family ties are stronger than water, and truth is stronger than lies. Camille returned at 2 a.m., slipping in quietly. She undressed in the bathroom and slid into bed. How's your mother? He asked quietly. What? Camille went rigid. You said you were checking on your mother. How is she? She's fine. Just needed help with her computer. At midnight, she's a night owl. You know that. Declan knew no such thing. Camille's mother went to bed at 9 every night. But he didn't challenge the lie. Good night, Camille. Neither slept much. The morning brought gray skies and first frost. Camille showered and dressed for work. I might be late again tonight. The client situation is getting complicated. I'm sure it is. Something in his tone made her look sharply. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing. Just that workplace complications tend to get messy. She stared at him, then grabbed her purse. I'll call you later. After she left, Declan drove to the hospital. The security director was waiting with the hospital's legal counsel and an FBI agent. Mr. Morrissey, we understand you have information about fraudulent billing practices. For 3 hours, Declan laid out everything. Unauthorized access, falsified codes, systematic fraud. He provided copies of phone records, financial documents, surveillance photos. This is substantial evidence. We'll need to act quickly before they destroy documentation. What happens now? Search warrants, computers, phones, financial records. Probably arrests within the week. What about my wife? Depends on her involvement. If she was following orders, disciplinary action; if she was an active participant, federal charges. There's something else. They're meeting regularly to coordinate activities. Hotel room 412 at the downtown Marriott tonight, probably around 8. The FBI agent made a note. We'll have surveillance in place. Declan drove home to wait for his daughters. Eva arrived first, confidence replaced by worry. Dad, what's going on? Sit down, sweetheart. We need to talk. Isabel arrived an hour later, still in college sweatshirt, looking like she'd rather be anywhere else. This better be important. I've got a paper due Monday. It's important. Sit down. He told them everything. The affair, fraud, investigation. Eva listened with growing horror. Isabel sat in stony silence. So, you're divorcing Mom? Eva said. Yes, because she cheated. Because she betrayed our family in every way possible. This is nonsense, Isabel said suddenly. You're destroying our family because you're jealous. I'm not destroying anything. Your mother did that when she chose to lie and steal and cheat. Maybe she wouldn't have cheated if you weren't so boring. The words hit like a physical blow. Eva gasped, but Isabel continued, you think you're so noble, but you're just a coward. Mom deserves better than spending her life with someone who can't even afford to take her on vacation. Isabel, stop. Eva said, no, I won't stop. Dad, you're pathetic. You sit there with your spreadsheets and boring job, and you wonder why Mom looked for excitement somewhere else. You drove her away. I see. And now you're trying to destroy her career because you can't handle that she found someone better. Someone better. Someone who steals from sick people. You don't know what really happened. You're making assumptions. I have evidence, Isabel. Documented proof. Then you're sick for spying on your own wife. Eva tried to intervene, but Isabel was rolling. 18-year-old righteousness combining into something cruel. You know what, Dad? I'm glad Mom found someone who appreciates her. She's been miserable with you for years. We all saw it. We, Mom, me, Eva, even Grandma Martha. We all talked about how you were holding her back, how she deserved better. Grandma Martha even suggested Mom should look for someone who could make her happy. The world shifted beneath his feet. Grandma Martha said that. She said marriage was about finding joy, not settling for security. She said Mom should experiment, see what else was out there. And what did you tell your mother? I told her to go for it. I told her life was too short to waste on someone who couldn't make her happy. And you, Eva? Eva's voice was barely a whisper. I didn't know she was married to someone else. I thought she was just unhappy. But you encouraged her to leave me. I encouraged her to find happiness. I didn't know she was committing crimes. Declan stood slowly, feeling heavy and old. I want both of you to leave. Dad, Eva started. No. You've made your positions clear. You think I'm boring and pathetic. You think your mother deserves better. You encouraged her to find that somewhere else. So now you can live with the consequences. What do you mean? Isabel asked, defiance wavering. I mean, you're on your own. No more mortgage help for you, Eva. No more tuition for you, Isabel. You want to support your mother's choices. Support yourselves. You can't do that. Isabel said, I can do exactly that. I've already called the bank. Eva's mortgage supplement stops immediately. Isabel, your next semester's tuition is due in January. Find your own funding. That's not fair, Eva said, tears starting. We are your daughters. You're your mother's daughters. You've made that clear. Now you can choose which parent you want to live with. Dad, please. Eva said, I'm sorry. I didn't mean you meant every word. Both of you. Don't expect me to pay for the privilege of being insulted and betrayed. Isabel's face had gone pale. You're really going to destroy our family over this? I didn't destroy our family. Your mother did. I'm just deciding who gets to pick up the pieces. He walked to the front door and opened it. I want you both out of my house. You can stay with your mother or your grandmother or your precious Dr. Clean. But you can't stay here. Ava was crying openly. Daddy, please. I'm sorry. I didn't understand. You understood perfectly. You just didn't think there would be consequences. But I need help with the mortgage. I can't afford. Then you'll lose the house or ask your mother to help. She's been planning to leave me anyway, right? She must have been setting aside money for her new life. Isabel stood jaw set with teenage stubbornness. Fine. We don't need you anyway. Mom's going to be so much happier without you. I'm sure she will be from her prison cell. She's not going to prison. You're trying to scare us. Federal Medicare fraud carries mandatory minimum 5 years. Wire fraud adds 5. Conspiracy adds 5. Your mother is looking at 15 years minimum, assuming she cooperates. Color drained from Isabel's face. You're lying. I'm an engineer, sweetheart. I don't lie about facts. Eva was sobbing. Dad, please. Can't we work this out? Can't we be a family? We were a family. Then you all decided I wasn't good enough. Now you get to live with that decision. He stood by the open door, waiting. After a long moment, Eva gathered her purse and keys, still crying. Isabel followed, face set in defiant hatred. I'll never forgive you for this, she said as she passed. I'll never forgive you either. So, we're even. He closed the door and walked to the kitchen window. He watched them argue beside Eva's car, probably deciding where to go. Finally, they drove away together, leaving Declan alone in the house he'd bought for his family. He poured himself a drink and sat at the kitchen table. In 24 hours, he'd lost his wife, daughters, and mother. But for the first time in years, he felt completely clear about what he needed to do. His phone buzzed. FBI arrested Klein at the hotel. Camille in custody. Call me. Tommy. Declan deleted the message and poured another drink. Then he called his lawyer. Morrison, it's Declan. I need you to accelerate the divorce proceedings and I need you to remove my daughters from my will. Declan, are you sure you're going through trauma? I'm sure they've made their choice. Now I'm making mine. The next morning brought news coverage. Dr. Wesley Clean and Nurse Administrator Camille Morrissey charged with conspiracy to commit Medicare fraud, wire fraud, and theft of government funds. Local news ran their mugs shot. Klein looking haggard. Camille shocked and disbelieving. Declan's phone rang constantly. Reporters, neighbors, co-workers, family, friends. He ignored them all. Instead, he drove to his mother's house. Martha was waiting, having seen the news coverage. She opened the door before he could knock. Face grave and guilty. I heard, she said simply. Did you? Did you hear that your advice to my wife has resulted in federal charges? Martha walked to her kitchen. I never told her to commit crimes. But you told her to find someone else. You encouraged her to betray her marriage vows. I told her to find happiness at my expense. Martha turned to face him, chin raised despite obvious guilt. You were making her miserable, Declan. She came to me crying, saying she felt trapped, saying she needed more than what you were giving. So you told her to have an affair. I told her to consider her options. Marriage isn't a prison sentence. It's a commitment, a promise, something you and Dad taught me to honor. Your father and I had passion, Declan. We had fire. You and Camille had routine. The words cut deep because they contained truth. Declan had built his marriage on stability, reliability, trust. So my daughters knew about this. They knew you were encouraging their mother to leave me. Martha's face crumpled slightly. They were worried about both of you. The girls love you. Funny way of showing it. They called me boring, pathetic, said Camille deserved better. They're young. They don't understand. They understand perfectly, just like you do. Declan moved toward the door. I want you to know that your advice has destroyed our family. Camille is facing 15 years in federal prison. Eva is going to lose her house. Isabel will have to drop out of college. And I'm filing for divorce. Declan, wait. No, Mom. I'm done waiting. I'm done being the steady, reliable, boring one. I'm done being taken for granted. What are you going to do? I'm going to rebuild my life without any of you. He left his mother's house and drove to the courthouse. The divorce papers were ready along with restraining orders preventing Camille from accessing joint accounts or returning to the house. The judge will want to schedule a hearing, Morrison explained. But given the criminal charges, this should be straightforward. You'll get the house, retirement accounts, everything. What about spousal support? Criminal conviction eliminates her claim to alimony. She'll be lucky to avoid complete financial ruin. Over the next few weeks, Declan returned to his normal routine. Work, home, solitary dinners, peaceful evenings without drama or lies. He discovered that he actually enjoyed the silence, the predictability, the absence of emotional manipulation. Tommy provided regular updates. Klein's situation was hopeless. Pills trafficking charges alone carried 20-year minimum. Camille's situation was slightly better. Cooperation earned consideration for reduced sentence, but she was still looking at 5 to 7 years. More importantly, the divorce proceedings moved smoothly. With Camille unable to contest and facing criminal conviction, the court was prepared to grant Declan everything. The house, savings, retirement accounts, even Camille's car and personal property. In December, 3 months after arrests, Declan received an unexpected visitor. Vincent Torino stood on his porch wearing a tracksuit and predatory smile. Engineer, got a minute? What do you want to thank you? Klein paid up with interest. I don't know what you're talking about. Of course you don't. But hypothetically, if someone had provided information that helped collect a debt, that someone might be entitled to a finder's fee. Torino handed Declan an envelope. Hypothetically, inside was $5,000 in cash. I can't accept this. Sure, you can. Think of it as compensation for services rendered or a Christmas bonus. As Torino left, he turned back. You know, engineer, you got a talent for this kind of work. If you ever get tired of inspecting tunnels, give me a call. Declan closed the door and stared at the money. It represented everything he'd never wanted to become. Vengeful, calculating, willing to use violence by proxy, but it also represented justice served when the legal system moved too slowly. Christmas arrived without celebration. Declan spent the day alone, reading and watching old movies. Eva and Isabel had sent cards, awkward, desperate attempts at reconciliation that went unanswered. In January, plea bargains were finalized. Klein pleaded guilty to all charges in exchange for a 25-year sentence. He would be eligible for parole in 15 years. Camille pleaded guilty to fraud and conspiracy in exchange for a 7-year sentence. She would likely serve 5 years with good behavior. The divorce was finalized the same week. Declan walked out of the courthouse as a free man. Legally and financially independent, tied to no one and responsible for no one except himself. Spring arrived with new construction projects and longer days. Declan had settled into his routine. Work, solitary dinners, evening walks, weekend projects. He'd lost 30 pounds and gained a sense of purpose he hadn't felt in years. Tommy stopped by one evening with news. Klein's dead. Found him in his cell this morning. Apparent self-inflicted death. Bed sheet noose. Declan felt nothing except mild curiosity. Any note? Nothing official. But word is he couldn't handle 25 years inside. What about Camille? Still serving her time. Model prisoner. Could be out in 4 years. They sat on the back porch watching sunset paint the sky orange and red. You ever regret it? Tommy asked. The way things turned out. Regret what? Telling the truth. Refusing to be taken advantage of. Standing up for myself. Cutting off your family. They cut me off first, Tommy. I just made it official. And if Eva or Isabel came to you tomorrow genuinely sorry, wanting to rebuild, then they'd discover that some bridges once burned can't be rebuilt. Tommy nodded. You've changed, Dec. You're harder now. I'm more honest now. I spent 48 years being what other people wanted me to be. Steady, reliable, forgiving. It nearly destroyed me. And now I'm what I choose to be. And I choose not to be anyone's safety net. As summer turned to fall, Declan received word that his mother had died. Heart attack quick and painless. The funeral was small. Church friends, distant relatives, Eva and Isabel looking lost and alone. Declan watched from across the cemetery, far enough to avoid conversation, but close enough to pay respects. When the service ended, Eva started walking toward him, but he was already gone. Martha's will left everything to her granddaughters. It wasn't much, but it was something. Declan felt no resentment about being excluded. His mother had made her choice. 2 years after the arrests, Declan received a letter from Camille forwarded through Morrison's office. Asterisk Declan. I know you probably won't read this, but I need to try. I've had 2 years to think about what I did to you, to us, to our family. There are no excuses. I was selfish, cruel, and stupid. I threw away 19 years of marriage for a few months of excitement. I know I destroyed everything. I know the girls blame me for losing you. I know I ruined their lives as much as I ruined ours. But I need you to know that I never stopped loving you, even when I was betraying you. Wesley is dead. He couldn't face the consequences. I think about that every day. How our selfishness led to so much destruction. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it, but I want you to know that I understand now what I had, what I threw away. You were the best man I ever knew, and I was too stupid to appreciate it. The girls ask about you sometimes. They're struggling, but surviving. Ava lost her house, but found a smaller apartment. Isabel finished college on loans and grants. They both regret what they said. They both love you. I'll be released next year. I don't know where I'll go or what I'll do. I just know that I'll spend the rest of my life regretting what I did to you. I love you. I always loved you. Camille asterisk. Declan read the letter twice, then fed it into his paper shredder. Love without loyalty was just words. Regret without consequences was just sentiment. He poured himself a drink and sat on his back porch, watching the sun set over the city he'd spent his career keeping safe. In the distance, he could see lights of the Riverside Tunnel, stronger now than it had ever been. Some structures could be repaired. Others needed to be demolished completely and rebuilt from the foundation up. Declan had chosen demolition. 3 years after the arrests on a cold February morning, Declan was inspecting a bridge downtown when he saw Eva. She was walking out of a coffee shop, looking older, but more confident. She spotted him across the street and froze. For a moment, they stared at each other across morning traffic. Eva raised her hand slightly, a tentative wave. Declan looked at her for a long moment, then turned and walked away.